Welcome, everybody, to episode 161 of the Healthy Habit Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Dayon of Healthy Habit Medical Center. Welcome back to the show, everybody, and look who's back for our check-in, who was back on episode 160, last episode, actually. We're doing another back-to-back here with our Emerald Labs representative, National Educator, Stacy Faulkner is back. Stacy, how are we doing on your end?
Excellent. Excellent.
We're going to be
I love
covering...
October.
Yeah, we're going to be covering cardiovascular health today, and I've been telling a lot of my patients, Stacy, every 30 seconds somebody has a heart attack or a cardiovascular event in this country, in the U.S. So what's on your radar with this topic? How important, you've been in the natural health industry since 2000. Tell us how important cardiovascular health is on your end. I want to hear your perspective.
I think like right away what you just said, every 30 seconds is really important because from what I understand, Dehan, is that it's kind of the silent killer, like high blood pressure, cardiovascular atherosclerosis. People really don't know until there's so much pressure, right? Put on those blood vessels that the heart's pumping to try to keep the health going, right? That oxidative stress and the little damage creates the cholesterol and the plaque to build up, and nobody really knows until it's too late when perhaps a heart attack or a stroke happens. Is that your understanding?
Absolutely. You're right. Like 50% are silent.
Mm,
So the person doesn't really have any pressing symptoms or concerns, which
hmm.
I think that might be oversimplifying it because I'm sure there's something that's going on. They just
Sure.
don't look at it as a symptom.
Or
Um,
lifestyle, right? They
yes.
just don't know. And another thing is too is that with the amount of silence that it builds up, sometimes I think it's important that everybody should know the um, the effects of a stroke that's happening. And there's a lot of people that have been saved, and I've seen commercials out there that there's like I think five different things that you can know that something's happening and be able to either call 911 on your own or get yourself to a hospital emergency room. And I feel like this training that's out there these days, that this current training would be really important for everyone to know the symptoms of what a stroke might be happening.
Yeah. So, and do you want to go over some of those, or do you have any off the top of your head that you wanted to cover,
No,
or that's okay?
no, because I guess I need to do the training myself. I know like that stuff I've listened to,
Yeah.
but just not off the top to have it, recorded to be an expert on it.
Absolutely, but I'll cover some just for like some
Great.
general, like sudden weakness, numbness, paralysis of the face, arms or legs, especially on one side of the body.
Mm-hmm.
Because what is a stroke? It's when the brain doesn't get blood and oxygen. It's literally being deprived. And then it's under that umbrella of cardiovascular
Hmm.
disease. It's a type of vascular problem, usually due to a blocked artery, bleeding in the brain. Sudden confusion, Stacy. This happens. Difficulty speaking, trouble
Hmm.
understanding speech. Suddenly you lose your balance. You have a tough time walking. Severe headache all of a sudden comes on it's called like a thunderstruck or thunderstrike headache. The
Oh,
worst headache of all time they felt. That's a sign of a potential stroke. Sudden vision problems in one or both eyes.
yep.
These
I
are all
knew about
things
the
to look out
vision.
for. Yeah,
Right. Yeah. Can lead to like kidney issues, right? Vision
right.
issues. Um, I know sexual dysfunction can happen as well, and those are like different signs. But the vision, I think, is important. And I've never heard about the headache, so that's really a key for people to understand about a
Right.
thunderstroke headache. I've never heard of that, which is
That
makes sense. Lack of oxygen, right?
right.
And
And
the brain's screaming out.
that one's especially tied to aneurysm. That one's
Oh, okay.
especially that's even more specific. When you get such an insane, intense headache, it's more specific to aneurysm, but it could happen in stroke as well.
And that's
So
kind of an instant death, the aneurysm. I've had
it
two
could be, yeah.
people, and then my mother-in-law had emergency surgery
Oh man.
to get rid of an aneurysm, which was very successful over 35 years ago. So yeah, but the aneurysm, I've had two friends' parents pass away just right on the spot
Wow.
because it
So
explodes, right?
exactly, literally, you get a rupture of a blood vessel.
Oh,
And we're introducing this because today's topic, and products we want to cover are
mm,
connected to hopefully helping in your preventative journey against cardiovascular diseases, strokes, heart attacks, like the blood pressure formula by Emerald Labs. One of the biggest risk factors for a stroke, heart attack, aneurysm is high blood pressure, right, Stacy?
right. Right. And so, I mean, preventative maintenance would be everything to look for if you're going to be taking a supplemental protection. We have a couple options with Emerald Labs as we either have a formula, we also have a straight pomegranate. Pomegranate's been really discussed a lot for cardiovascular health and all sorts of things. Beyond that, we can get into that. But yeah, especially if preventative maintenance or if you have a family history, people will usually know if they have a family history of heart disease or high blood pressure. And actually, I think you would see in your patients, there's a lot of people that carry around that high blood pressure just naturally, right?
Yeah.
Just, always. So. Yeah, well,
Right.
Emerald Labs, we have a product called the Blood Pressure Health, super simple to find on the shelf at Healthy Habits. Very, very clean overall with Emerald Labs. I think the listeners need to understand that we are 100% additive free, gluten free. We only create these formulas of non-GMO ingredients. So these formulas also created by Dr. Mark Stengler, who's a naturopathic medical doctor. Really with cutting edge ingredients that have clinical studies to back it. And when you're showing this blood pressure health picture here, if people are going to be viewing this right away, they can see right at the shelf level 2 to 3 bullet points. And in this case, they're going to show what Emerald Labs is showing are three of the potent ingredients that are the drivers in here, like a ginkgo, biloba, the hawthorn berry, dandelion. Well, that's not even on the front, but dandelion is in
Right.
there. And then the casein hydrolysate. So we can go over those and then we can talk about why this formula is also with magnesium and potassium as the key drivers, first ingredients in the formulas. But we can go over why these 5 ingredients or 6 ingredients are so important because we get a lot of testimonials from people calling in, noting that their blood pressure has seriously been lowered. The HDL, the LDL, the HDL has increased, the triglycerides have gone down, the LDL has gone down. So overall cholesterol health has definitely improved.
Mm-hmm.
And so when looking at this with the magnesium, the potassium, the hydrolysate, the hawthorn and the ginkgo and dandelion leaf, right away we're looking at assisting, right? The blood flow from the heart, right? The arteries,
Right.
the veins, the capillaries. So with magnesium right away, we're looking at relaxing the blood vessels, lowering the systolic and the diastolic uh, just the blood pressure
Yeah.
overall, systolic and dystolic. So those are from readings. And then the potassium eases the tension, okay, in the walls of the blood vessels, as well as balancing out the negative side effects.
Mm.
So potassium and magnesium, I think, are definitely one of the lower minerals in people these days, especially magnesium. We talked about this just, I think, last week or the week before, but the kidneys are really regulating the amount of fluid that is stored in the body. And so less fluid equates to lower blood pressure.
Right.
So this also keys into where the um, dandelion leaf is. Dandelion leaf is very high in potassium content. And so it has these
Okay.
antidiuretic properties. And so the dandelion leaf powder is basically the extract. I think, is it a powder or an extract? I have to look that up here. Yeah, it's a powder. So the
Yeah.
dandelion leaf, obviously people will know that it's really good for the liver, but it's got diuretic effects. And so it's really increasing the urine production and eliminating the fluid. So it's much more mild than a prescription, a diuretic prescription. So that's why this dandelion leaf powder is in this blood pressure formula.
Amazing intro, Stacy. Thank you again. Blood pressure health formula from Emerald Labs. No additives, no gluten. It's a vegetarian formula, whole food blend. Doctor formulated, as Stacy mentioned, with Dr. Mark Stangler, and that episode came out earlier, about a couple weeks ago now.
September
Uh,
12th, I think, right? Or
yeah, that's when we
yeah.
recorded it, and then it comes out a couple weeks after that. So,
Mhm.
folks, if you didn't check that episode out, and you want to see the face behind the name here, Doctor
Yep.
Formulated, go check out that episode with Dr. Mark Stangler. You definitely don't want to miss that. America's Natural Health Doc. So when I've heard casein before, I want to start with the casein
Hmm.
hydrolysate because I've heard it before used by bodybuilders. They take it before bed. A lot of athletes and bodybuilders, instead of whey is like right after the workout, whey protein. But then before bed, they'll take casein powder because it's extremely slow digesting throughout the night.
Mm-hmm.
So Why would that be included in the formula? Let's hear your thoughts on the casein hydrolysate.
So this casein hydrolysate, first of all, you'll see on the supplement facts that it says dairy based. This is the
Yes.
only ingredient that does not allow this product to be vegan.
Mm.
So yeah, like you said earlier, it's vegetarian due to this casein hydrolysate. So this is a milk protein preparation. So what it's been shown for is to really relax the blood vessels overall. And so it's milk derived, so that's why it's vegetarian. They contain peptides from the ACE, which is an enzyme, which is angiotensin
Okay.
converting enzyme. And so that what that does is really assist by lowering the blood pressure and thus the risk of developing hypertension. So when people look at ACE, the key word right there for you to understand it is angiotensin converting enzyme. And so I think that if people understand the casein hydrolysate and are okay with it not being vegan, it's a very helpful ingredient, and
Uh-huh.
it makes this a little bit unique from other blood pressure formulas.
Right.
So reducing or relaxing the blood vessels would be the takeaway for your listeners.
Got it. That's good. Yeah, because a lot of people with high blood pressure, they have stenosis or stiff arteries that the arteries are
Heard.
supposed to be able to open and close or dilate and contract
And you
easily.
want them to be flexible.
Yes, exactly. They're supposed to be elastic and able to move the blood without any problems. And then the problem with the stiffness, that's what drives up that blood pressure. Or at least that's one cause of
One.
high blood pressure. So very
And
good. And
people can always add silica to, a blood pressure regimen. Silica really helps with the flexibility of the arterial walls. Silica's
mm,
in charge of collagen production, and so their arterial walls right there, keeping them flexible and bendable. We don't want them stiff or stenosed, right? We
right.
want them bendable, flexible, flowing, and being able to expand and contract with the magnesium and potassium and have
Yes.
all that blood flow going through the system constantly without any kind of um, restrictive activity. And that could be plaque buildup, that could be the stiffness of the arterial walls
Yeah.
and lack of magnesium, lack of potassium. So magnesium, potassium, super, super important overall as two very important minerals for um, everyday function of the body.
Especially regulating blood pressure. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Over 90% of people are deficient in magnesium. We've heard
right.
that. I feel like that percentage just keeps getting higher and higher.
Yep,
So that's good that that's in the formula. Mag and potassium, they work hand in hand. They
right.
work together in the body in a lot of different reactions. So tell us a little bit about Hawthorn berry extract, classic herb in the botanical world for heart health.
So it increases coronary blood flow for sure. So I want people
Mm.
to
What
understand
does that mean?
Hawthorne.
What does that mean
So
exactly?
the blood flow from the pressure of the blood flow through the arterial walls, right? Keeping everything flowing, 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 flowing. That's all we want. So with this Hawthorne, the studies have really shown that increased blood flow. It also helps dilate the blood vessels.
Mm.
Um, Hawthorne's been shown to improve circulation. All right. Protecting the blood vessels as well from the damage and that can accumulate from high fat foods, from damage in the arterial walls where it starts to collect then. Um, it's often shown to lower the blood pressure, the hawthorn. So when people see, like, I try to make people understand too. So hawthorn is a red little berry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I learned this from my training so many years ago. When things are red, like pomegranate, when things are red, like hawthorn berry, you can right away start to see where nature is going to be um, attribute some effectiveness to the body.
Right.
So I want people to think about pomegranate heart health and blood flow health. I want people to think about hawthorn berry. There it is right there. It looks like a little mini pomegranate, right?
Right.
So think about what the colors are in some of these superfruits and what nature provides us and how it could actively be effective for our own body's health. And years ago, who started all this was, I mean, not just Hippocrates, all that, but Rudolf Steiner was a big leader in looking at something in nature and trying to attribute it to where it could attribute effectiveness for
Right.
for health. And so there we go. Look at that.
Yeah, tons of
All sorts of
benefits.
stuff. Tons of
Like I
benefits.
said, classic herb for heart health. You can even just go through pages and pages of Google Scholar on hawthorn berries for cardiovascular prevention and
Mhm.
different things that it does. But you got to hit the right dosage. Talk about how important that is. Getting the right amount and the right
Well,
standardized extract, like you'll find here, with
right.
specifically the 1.8% Vitex in here, instead of just any kind of hawthorn berry product, right?
So, right, especially with these extracts that Emerald Labs is using, these
Yes.
extracts are super important. They're very, very high quality. They're very, very concentrated. We have a whole superfruit line that includes, like we're going to talk about, the pomegranate. We've got so many different fruit lines, singular fruits that in case somebody's really not wanting to do like a formula like this is showing here, they
Yeah.
can go straight to a superfruit, which is really high like a grapeseed extract. Again, a nice red, purplish kind of fruit, really great for OPCs. Um, the ginkgo, I mean, the hawthorn here, the pomegranate that we're going to talk about. So, really, if people, another takeaway would be that these fruits that we're using, these extracts, these European standardized extracts, are very, very high as far as the concentration and the compounds that we're using them for the effect that we're looking for the consumer to get.
Right. Earlier, you were saying coronary blood flow, and basically, I was like, what does that mean? It means basically feeding the heart, right? You want to make sure the
Increasing
heart,
the flow.
exactly, to the heart specifically. Coronary refers to
Mhm.
heart and all the blood vessels coming out of the heart, like that. Yeah, the arteries, the
The
great
arteries, the
aorta,
veins,
all
yeah,
that.
they need to be flowing so effectively to be able to keep the coronary blood flow going, to keep the coronary
Yeah.
heart health going, to keep the blood flow going to the brain, going to all the organ everywhere it needs to go. So
Well, literally,
coronary
that's
heart.
that's what a heart attack is
Mm.
blood flow's not getting to a certain part of the heart, and then it dies. That's what a heart attack is. So getting that blood flow is so important, and Hawthorn can help. We'll finish on the Ginkgo biloba before we switch to pomegranate. Why
Okay.
Ginkgo? Tell us about Ginkgo biloba.
So, well, the ginkgo, so again, I'm going to go back to high quality that Emerald Lab is using. This is the highest quality ginkgo extract that possesses like anti-hypertensive properties. So
Right.
it's really beneficial for those with current hypertension. So it would be a good thing for a preventative maintenance. If you didn't want to have a whole formula, this is
Hmm.
something that's in our fruit line as well, ginkgo biloba. So somebody
Yes.
could take it on the side. They could also take the pomegranate on the side. They could take the resveratrol that we offer on the side. Um, so there's a lot of yeah, look at that beautiful ginkgo leaf. Yeah, the ginkgo tree is a beautiful, long living tree. And so that would be another takeaway too, is that this long living tree, we want to attribute that biloba can encourage us to be more longer living, so more heart health. And
Wow.
the heart is our the heart is what we need to take care of the most, the brain and the heart and the liver.
Yes.
Um, just overall. So the ginkgo biloba, if a takeaway, if people are like, whoa, there's just so many ingredients to remember what they're good for. Think about the color of that fruit, pomegranate, hawthorn, resveratrol. Those are always going to be good for blood flow, blood tonics, heart protection. Okay. The ginkgo, the longest living tree ever.
Hmm.
Think about longevity, overall longevity. And that's what we're looking at for the overall heart health. So beneficial to help, people with current hypertension and to really create antihypertensive properties as far as in the system and the body.
Great breakdown, Stacy. And this is the blood pressure health formula. It looks like 3 a day. And obviously, we're not giving medical advice or saying just take this and it's going to get you at 120 over 80, perfect blood pressure. But
Hmm.
you add this as a cherry on top if you're already trying to start losing weight, going to the gym, eating cleaner, and then maybe you add this on top, right? Would that be
To
a
encourage
good
more
way to
blood
look at it?
flow. Yes, it would be. And also, when we say take three, the FDA and dietary standards are getting more and more strict.
Mm,
So, here on the supplement facts box, I see serving size is one capsule, and then the suggested use is three.
yes.
What I want people to understand, and hopefully you can validate with your patients or your listeners, three would be split throughout the day. We
Yeah,
don't want to take all of our magnesium right in the beginning of the morning,
I
right?
agree.
We want to divide that up because that's how we would do it with a breakfast, a lunch, and a dinner or a snack. We would be getting our nutrient density throughout our meals throughout the whole day. And I'm not talking about drive through. I'm talking about, a salad bar, a juice, or a healthy sit down meal. So this is showing the consumer take it throughout the day.
Right.
Okay, depending on your gut health, with or without food, we don't want somebody turning green or having, not feeling well. Three would be a potent thing to take all day. And think about the liver. The liver needs to break it down. It needs to get into the bloodstream. It needs to be able to go and do its thing. So breaking up your supplements throughout the day is really, really important. Like you said, with one of your people taking the hydrolysate at the end of the evening. It's for a
Yep.
specific reason, right? So taking magnesium before you go to bed is going to help you relax. Taking it in the morning is going to start to give you that base of getting things flowing by. And as we know, magnesium is so important for so many different biochemical
Sure.
reasons. So, but I want as another, I keep saying takeaway today, but I want people to understand that don't take all your supplements right at once. Split them up throughout the day so that the body can utilize those nutrients and get it to go where it needs to go instead of over stressing the liver
Right.
with handfuls of supplements right away. And I've been known to do this. You just get
Just
them in
crank
there
them out. Yeah.
and
Especially if they forgot their morning or lunch dose, they might be like, "Oh, I got to catch
just
up."
take them all. And instead, go have a juice and a salad instead of just taking that handful because boy, that breakdown of all of those nutrient dense supplements are going to be pretty potent work for the liver. And
Right.
that liver is pretty overworked and underpaid.
We're going to the finish off here 3 minutes. That was the blood
Oh,
pressure health formula. This one, I've gone through about 2, 3 bottles of this personally over the last couple years. The
really?
Emerald Labs, absolutely, because of the men's health benefits, but
Mm.
it's not just for men. Women, obviously, it's under the heart health supplements section of Emerald Labs website, store.emeraldlabs.com. Doctor formulated pomegranate with 40% ellagic acid and juice powder. Let's hear your thoughts on pomegranate, and then we'll close her up for today. This is an important way to
Okay.
end it off right here.
So I take pomegranate just every day with resveratrol and I do two of the grapeseed extracts and I also do the cranberry. Those are all very red, very beneficial in so many ways.
You're
But
gonna you're
again,
gonna live to 140, Stacy.
we'll see. Yeah, I love our fruit formulas. They are vegan. They are just the fruit and nothing but the fruit or the vine, whatever we're using. They are at very high standard doses. Our pomegranate here, if you notice, our pomegranate at 2 capsules is 1450. I believe this is higher than anybody else besides maybe life extensions.
Okay,
But this product, this pomegranate juice powder,
interesting.
so pomegranate right away, think about antioxidant. Okay, superfruits, super dense nutrients, superfruit, free radical damage assessment, or oxidizing those free radicals all day long.
Right.
It's a powerhouse. So so when we're talking about blood flow, we're looking at improving. I mean, if we're talking about blood pressure, pomegranate improves the blood flow. So again, when we just talk about the heart, we want the heart to have it be as easy as possible, improving the blood flow from the veins and the arteries, keeping that heart being able to pump and flow as much as possible to get through the body. So we're also improving the lipid levels. So we're looking at lower, the LDL, we're looking at the triglycerides, we're looking at increasing the HDL,
Right.
okay, the positive part. We're looking at decreasing arteriosclerosis. And so when we talked about the arteries and the damage that starts to happen, they get these maybe like I compare them to like little cuts in the arteries. And so
Yeah.
then plaque likes to stick to it or kind of harbor itself in those little cuts or little stressors. It prevents blood clots and blood vessel damage that can really lead up to what we were talking about earlier, the heart attack and a stroke. And it increases the blood pressure and also increases the blood glucose that we talked about last week,
Mm-hmm.
Dehan,
Yeah.
the blood sugar. It increases the endothelial dysfunction. And so that's what I'm really talking about. Those are two big words, but that's the damage to the layer of the veins or the arteries that we're talking about where plaque likes to just land on. So just think about a little sticky, the plaque is sticky, and then let's think about Velcro. We could talk about the arterial wall as like
Right.
Velcro. So the damage is one part of the Velcro, and then the plaque is the other. And so boom, we've got all this stuff sticking. And so what does that do? It narrows our arterial wall lining. So
Wow.
less blood flow can go through, right? So
Yep.
that makes more tension on the arterial wall all again already. And so less blood flow because we have so much plaque buildup is going to lead to, and I'm not sure you can maybe take over with this, is that arterial plaque buildup causing the stenosis, the stiffness of The
Right.
walls?
It's part
Oh,
of
is
it.
that right?
There's
Okay.
multiple causes to the stiffness.
Okay. So
So,
yeah,
yeah.
so endothelial dysfunction is basically the cell lining of the artery that's been damaged. And so we want to, pomegranate has been shown to really reduce that arterial wall plaque
Right.
and not really, and that endothelial dysfunction, it decreases the cell lining damage. So, which is nice.
Incredible. I want to
Which is
almost
nice.
pick up our next check-in with
Okay.
pomegranate so we can
Okay.
continue this because this is one of the oldest fruits ever in human civilizations.
Absolutely.
This one goes back
Oh, and
thousands of
I
years.
just picked one from my tree
Oh my god,
today
look
to
at
show
that.
you
Hold
because
on.
not everybody knows
Let me get out of the screen share so they can see this.
because
Look at
October
that. That's beautiful.
it should get bigger and
Look at
bigger.
that.
But I just went and grabbed one this morning. So a lot
So,
of people don't know about pomegranates, but
right.
in the Middle East where they grow just substantially, they're used almost every day with juice. If somebody like I just bought a, remember you and I talked about um, the um, the Super Seven from Trader Joe's that you and
Yep.
I
Oh,
drink.
that's right.
Okay,
Yeah.
all those super power foods
Yep.
from Turkey. So
Yep.
pomegranate
It's in
is
there.
definitely from Turkey.
Right.
And if you somebody does just 1 ounce of pomegranate juice has shown to reduce arterial wall plaque by up to 35% in a month.
And they say
Okay.
fruit juice is bad for you. So that's why I just watch out what you read, folks, on the internet and social media. Like there's one circulating right now, Stacy, that like red fruits and vegetables are nature telling you stop, don't eat it. Which is
Oh,
just I'm gonna have to
brother.
respectfully disagree with that.
Me too.
That means we can't have goji berries and pomegranate and red grapes and the
Right.
hawthorn berry that you just said because it's
Yes.
red. So no,
No,
that's
that's it.
it's
And you know
ludicrous.
what they if they need to take something away from that, you just need to look at added sugars
Right.
in a product. If there's added sugars, we don't want that. You know, we want
Yeah.
the natural fruits. So we juice all of our pomegranates every year through a food mill and we
Good.
freeze them in ice cube trays. And so we'll do ice cream. We do the juice every day when we have it on board and then we're able to drink it throughout the year. So
Perfect.
pomegranates are amazing. Very low heart disease in the Middle East.
And that's a
Pomegranates.
perfect note right there. We have to get the next
Yeah,
podcast segment underway. Stacy,
go.
I appreciate you.
Eh,
Once you
eh,
and I get going, we can go for hours.
I
So
know we can. We
I
nerd
look
out. So
forward to our next one, folks.
let's
Store.emeraldlabs.com. Is that a good starting point for online?
store or just emeraldlabs.com. Yep, they
Emeraldlabs.com.
can purchase online. They can purchase on Amazon because we control the pricing on that. We are the only ones that sell on Amazon. But otherwise, we'd really want you guys to come in to
Absolutely.
Healthy Habits to a store and talk to Stan the Demo Man. And next time, Tejon, yeah, let's do resveratrol, cranberry. Let's do the superfruits that are red, and it'll segment uh
Yes.
into what we finished up today.
And we can re highlight pomegranate. Thank you, Stacy, for your
You're
time.
welcome.
Appreciate you.
Bye.
Bye
Have a
bye.
great rest of the week.
You too.